Hello guys, in this video I will show you the DNA, the autosomal DNA, the predicted traits, predicted appearance, and of course GED match results of two samples from Koban culture in Ossetia, which is in southern Russia between Stavropol Krai and Georgia. Now this first sample, I figured it out by running it through multiple calculators, multiple ethnicity calculators. This first sample is a Scythian, and let's get into it. Right, so this Scythian woman from Koban culture with my Nashakot tool is predicted to have red hair, Greek-shaped nose, and brown eyes. The eye color estimation, maybe not so good because a lot of the imported S&Ps weren't found, but what's interesting is that with my hair ID tool, she's predicted to have very curly or kinky hair, and there the estimation is reliable. The prediction for hair is reliable because there was like 8 different variations that were found. In terms of the common S&Ps I look at, like OXTR, EDAR, this file was pretty poor, but here are some of the traits that she had that I could find in her file. She had a reduced risk of male pattern baldness. It's possible that she was unable to taste bitter, and although this information was not found on the site where I downloaded the file from, or basically anywhere, CodeGen actually predicts her to have mitochondrial DNA U or K. She had a pretty average genetic risk score for schizophrenia. She had a very low genetic risk score for Crohn's disease. She had a very high genetic risk score for asthma. She had a very low genetic risk score for type 1 diabetes. She had a very low genetic risk score for bipolar. In fact, I think like literally bottom 2% maybe. And she also had a very, very low genetic risk score for Parkinson's disease. Literally, I would say bottom 1% based on this chart distribution here. Moving on to her GED match results, this is her Eurogenes K13 results, and this is basically how I know this is not a native Caucasian. This is how I know this is a Scythian from Koban. She's from Koban, she's from there, but she's not a native Caucasian. She is probably an Iranic Scythian or Sarmatian ancestor of Ossetians. Why? Because look at how much North Atlantic and Baltic she scores. Here is her oracle for this calculator, and she is still closest to Caucasians. It's just that she has a huge amount of admixture from Northern Europe. Here is her result with punt DNA LK10, and really pay attention to this result. She scores 32% Western hunter-gatherer. Pay attention to this because this is as different as it could be from the other sample you will see in this video. In this video you will see a genuine Koban culture, like native North Caucasian, not this. This is an Iranic person. And this is her result for the oracle for this calculator. As you can see, it's a mixture of just kind of Northern European and something from Western Asia. This is her result with punt DNA LK12. Once again, one thing you can notice immediately is the 27% European hunter-gatherer admixture. This is not a native North Caucasian. This is a Scythian person. And here is her oracle with this calculator. As you can see, it models her as a mixture of like Caucasus-related stuff with European-related stuff, like European hunter-gatherers, basically European admixture, which is typical for a Scythian. Here is her Eurogenes K36 result. Yes, I know, very diverse. And here is her G25 that I simulated on the basis of this Eurogenes K36 result. On G25, this Eurogenes K36 simulation can be modeled as a mixture of basically Northern Caucasus with a little bit of, you can see Northern European, like French and Lithuanian. And this is a simulation for this sample that I did with MDLP K27. What's interesting is here she is closest to Tajiks. And with these G25 coordinates, she is more Northern, more like Russian. As you can see here, she scores 37% Russian on both of these runs. Now let's get into the second sample. The second sample is Zayukovo 3. I think 3 is the number of the burial. And this is a male, and he is very, very different from this woman that I just showed you previously. I actually was able to find out his haplogroup. His haplogroup was G2A. Now, although my Nashakot tool predicts him to have brown eyes and blonde hair, I depicted him here with black hair instead because the hair color estimation was done with very few S&Ps. I don't find it reliable, and just based on the way I imagine these people looking like, I don't imagine him having blonde hair, so he probably had black hair, which is why I made him have black hair in this image. He had a very, very European genotype in DRD2. He was a no-go learner with a very low risk of schizophrenia. He also had a very European genotype in COMT. He was a warrior with the IE, which means he had a slow reuptake of dopamine, which means more dopamine in his system, which means advantage in memory and attention task, as it says on the screen. He did not have the sociopath gene, and he also did not have derived EDAR, which is a gene implicated in East Asian facial features. He was likely to be lactose intolerant as an adult and did not have the European lactose persistence mutation. He had a low genetic risk score for type 2 diabetes, a low genetic risk score for schizophrenia, and a very low genetic risk score for type 1 diabetes. And here is his genetic result with Eurogenes K13, and this is how you know this is a native North Caucasian without any Scythian admixture, because look at how little North Atlantic and Baltic he has, and look at how much West Asian and East Mediterranean he has. According to this calculator's oracle, he is closest to Georgians and other people of Northwest Caucasus. And this is his result with PUN DNA LK10. By the way, remember I told you to pay attention to what that previous woman scored on this calculator? Just to remind you, she scored 32% VHG, whereas this sample scores 7.5% of this calculator, of this component on this calculator. The closest populations to this sample with the oracle are Abkhazians and Georgians. Now here is his result with the MDLPK11 calculator. And according to the oracle, he is closest to like basically Caucasus related stuff, so this is a native Caucasian. Here is his result with Eurogenes K36, as you can see a lot less diverse than the previous woman. And here is a G25 simulation that I did for him on the basis of those Eurogenes K36 results, and here he's modeled as a mixture of basically like Caucasus and a little bit of Northern Europe. Now Eurogenes K36 is good for simulating genomes for modern people, but not so much for ancient folks. So here is a simulation with K27, MDLPK27, which I find much better and much more accurate. Here he is closest to Georgians and Udi. I don't know what Udi is. I think that's Caucasus as well. And here is the mixed mode with those G25 results. As you can see, very much Caucasian, very much a Caucasus result. Those of you who stuck around to this point in the video, thank you. The simulated G25 coordinates used in this video will all be in the description, along with the links to download those raw files in 23andMe format. If you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe.